Howdy folks, Jabberiki here, and guess what? I finally saw the Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka crossover movie. I actually went out of my way to buy the DVD, sit down and watch it. I predicted that this film was going to be awful, and you know what? It is! It's shit!
In this movie, Tom and Jerry are living on the street and struggling for food, but a kind boy called Charlie shares his bread with them, even though he's poor himself. Meanwhile, it's announced that the eccentric candy maker Willy Wonka is leaving 5 golden tickets to his factory inside the wrappers of his chocolate bars. Winners are routinely announced, and Wonka's rival Slugworth tries to convince each winner to sneak a recipe from Wonka's factory to him. In a bid to repay Charlie for his kindness, Tom and Jerry tried to help Charlie get a Wonka bar. Luckily, Charlie finds a coin, buys a Wonka bar, and finds a golden ticket inside the wrapper. After their friend goes into the factory, Tom and Jerry notice that Slugworth is sneaking inside. So, the cat and mouse duo make their way into the factory, with help from a mouse called Tuffy. Tom and Jerry make their way to the door to warn Charlie about Slugworth. However, Charlie can't tell Wonka about Slugworth because then Tom and Jerry will be caught.
This movie is beyond unnecessary. Nobody was watching the original 70s Willy Wonka and thinking, oh, you know what this movie needs? A cat and mouse who like to fight each other. The entire film is a waste of time. Because what you're really watching is just the original 70s Willy Wonka, but everything is animated. And that's it. How are you meant to respond to that? Well done, you managed to take a film that already exists and completely repeat the same thing, but except this time, it's done with drawings. Here's a cookie. This movie is so phoned in, all the way through. You can tell that the filmmakers are just thinking, well, okay, so the original 70s Wonka film is a classic, we just need to copy that. And then we can make another classic. That's all we have to do. So literally every scene is beat for beat, copying the original film. While watching this movie, I just kept thinking, well, why don't I just watch the original 70s Wonka? Because that's what it is. The only noticeable change in this movie compared to the original is that Slugworth is a prominent villain this time, and it does not work! Spoiler alert for anyone who's not seen the original 70s Wonka film, but Slugworth isn't really Slugworth. He's actually one of Wonka's workers playing Slugworth. So the film's determination to have Slugworth be a prominent villain just so they can get Tom and Jerry into the factory is stupid. On the one hand, if you've seen the original 70s Wonka film, this change is not going to throw you off. You know the twist. So it's not really going to change any kind of direction in the narrative. Even if you've not seen the original 70s Wonka film, this twist is going to feel confusing and anticlimactic, because the movie tries extra hard to throw the audiences off into thinking that Slugworth is an actual villain. So when you look back on the film, you keep wondering, why did he do this? Why did he do that? Those actions don't make sense if he's actually just an actor.
The film tries to patch up this plot hole at the end by stating that the actor simply mistook Tom and Jerry as threats to Wonka's plan, as Wonka wanted to test the kids' loyalty to the factory. However, this doesn't explain the actor's determination to stay in character when kids aren't around.
Everything is going according to plan. Charlie Bucket and the other children suspect nothing. By the end of the day, Charlie Bucket will get exactly what's coming to him. And then this chocolate factory will have a new owner! Enough. Lock the gate.
It's clearly so the movie can have a villain character without coming up with their own original antagonist. In the original 70s Wonka film, Slugworth only appeared on screen to manipulate the ticket winners. Because his role wasn't overexposed in the movie, later, when we find out that he's actually an actor, we buy it. Does the inclusion of Tom and Jerry add anything? No. No, it doesn't. It adds nothing. The thing is, Tom and Jerry do help Charlie to get a golden ticket at the start of the film, and that is a problem. Why? It makes Charlie, the protagonist of the movie, a much less active character, because Tom and Jerry are doing the things that he could be doing. And this is
a huge issue I have with the film. Because the movie is trying to force Tom and Jerry into this existing story, the original Willy Wonka story that they're trying to remake loses a lot. We're constantly having emotional scenes being interrupted with Tom and Jerry fighting each other. It's unnecessary. We don't need to cut to Tom and Jerry smacking each other around. We don't need it. You're ruining the scenes.
Keep in mind, this is a 79-minute movie, and I think that half of it is dedicated to Tom and Jerry performing slapstick antics. Valuable time that could have been constructively used to help us sympathise with Charlie and get invested in his story is instead replaced with excuses to make Tom and Jerry hurt themselves. The thing is, this crossover is quite redundant. The Willy Wonka cast and Tom and Jerry are kind of doing their own things in the factory. Plus, Tuffy often serves as a surrogate Willy Wonka for the Cat and Mouse's own factory tour, which makes the movie feel like two different films are happening. Even when Tom and Jerry share a screen with a Wonka character, it either feels too short, too awkward, or too forced. You see, the film has written the Cat and Mouse duo into a hole. By having Tom and Jerry being uninvited guests who can't be spotted by Wonka, there's very little they can do when they end up on the Ticket Winners tour because they have to frequently hide away. Yes, sometimes they can make their way into Charlie's story, but for the most part, they're pointlessly chasing Slugworth, which in the long run later turns out to be a waste of time.
Now, some people might think, well, the film's animated, doesn't that make it different to the original Willy Wonka 70s film? No, it doesn't, because the animation in this film isn't anything remarkable or special. It's your standard, straight-to-video style of animation. It's very limited. Yes, the designs and backgrounds look pretty, but the actual movement, the actual character animation is lackluster. The movie doesn't think, well, we're doing an animated version of a film set in a fantastical factory, we can do anything at all. No. Like I said, the movie is pretty much a beat-for-beat remake, and it doesn't embrace the freedom that comes with the animation medium. There's only one time, just one time, that the film experiments with its animation format, and it's a really pointless scene. Basically, Slugworth is doing a cover of Veruca Salt's song, I Want It All. And don't get me wrong, it's pretty much the most visually inventive part of the film. But it's A, the only part of the film where they experiment with the animation, and B, completely pointless. Because we don't really need to give a song to Slugworth when it turns out that he's not really a villain. What's the point of developing him this much if by the end of it, it was pointless?
I was quite interested to see how the filmmakers would approach the famous tunnel scene. How would they translate this nightmarish moment into animation? Well, it's not much, to be honest. The imagery is very tame, not very creative, and doesn't have much imagination. What a wasted opportunity.
There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are going.
Now, I'm not going to be completely pessimistic. I'm going to try my best, my darn hardest, to think of some things that I did like about this film. So, first of all, it's kind of funny that the fifth ticket winner, who turns out to be a lie, is Droopy. That's kind of funny. I wish they had more jokes like that in the film. Those are changes. Those are actually alterations that could have helped the film have more of its own identity.
We repeat, the fifth golden ticket is a forgery. Alberto Menuleta of Paraguay has just been taken into custody by the police.
Ay, caramba.
Which means there is still one golden ticket out there.
I also like how in some scenes, Tom and Jerry have to communicate with Charlie purely visually, because they don't talk. I like that. I like that the film does think, well, how can we get them to say certain things to Charlie without saying anything verbally? I've seen a lot of people defend the concept of this film, and I'm still not convinced by any of their defenses, and it just feels as if that people are just grasping straws at this point, trying to find some kind of justification for its existence. I think the only thing this movie gives are acting opportunities for very talented voice actors, like Jess Harnell, Sean Shamel, Kath Sosay, Jeff Bergman, and many others. But it doesn't give anything for the audience. It doesn't present anything new, it doesn't take any challenges, it doesn't take any risks, it doesn't embrace any kind of high imagination level. Sure, this movie is going to keep kids quiet for a little bit, but it's not going to be timeless. It's not going to leave any kind of impact, because it has no identity of itself. It's pointless and unnecessary. I'm going to forget about it after making this video. I've been Jamboriki and I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, then please consider following me on my Facebook and Twitter. Plus, also consider supporting me on my Patreon.